Okay, so this is a key to the worksheet 1 for topic 10, parts A and B, and this is the one dealing with circles. So in number 1, there are 3 items there. It says for each of the following, the center and radius is given. And then they want you to write the standard form of the equation of the circle. All right, so let's talk about that. So for one thing, the standard form for the equation of a circle is this. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal r squared. So that's what the standard form is. The center, the center is hk, and the radius is r. That's the radius. So the radius is r. It's not r squared. It is r. And the center is hk. And keep in mind that the form looks like this: x minus h, y minus k. All right. So, so number 1, you're told that the center is 5, negative 2, and you're told that the radius is 5. So what you're going to do is, and it does help, is if you denote the center. So the center, remember, we denote as hk. So this is h, so 5 is h, and k is negative 2, and there's r. So all you do is just plug this information into your formula. So we get this. We get x, parentheses, x minus h, which is 5, squared, plus y minus k, which is negative 2. This is how it looks so far, squared, equal r squared. R is 5, so I squared. Now, don't leave your answer like this. Okay, so in your lessons, you learned that you need to go further if possible. So in other words, you all know that y subtract a negative 2 is y plus 2. So you have to write it like that. So in other words, the answer you are going to write will be this: x minus 5 squared plus y plus 2 squared equal, and then 5 squared is 25. So that's the answer. Okay? So that's the standard form that you're going to write. Okay, number 2. Number 2, we have the center this time being negative 2, negative 7, and the radius is the square root of 7. And so again, denote h and k. So there's h and there's k. And you just substitute into your formula. So x minus h, which is negative 2 squared, plus y minus k, which is negative 7 squared, equal the radius, which is the square root of 7 squared. Again, do not leave your answer like this. So the answer you will give will be this. So you will say x subtract the negative 2 means x plus 2 squared, plus, and then y subtract negative 7 becomes y plus 7, so we get y plus 7 squared. And you have to know that the square root of 7 squared means the square root of 7 times the square root of 7, which is just 7. Remember, it's the square root of 49, right? Which is just 7. And so that's it. That's your answer. Number 3. Number 3, you're told that the center is 5, 0, and the radius is 2 square root of 3. So the center is 5, 0, and the radius is 2 square root of 3. So again, there's your h, there's your k. So you're going to say x minus 5 squared plus y minus 0 squared equal the radius, which is 2 square root of 3 squared. Again, that's not your answer. You're going to simplify this a little bit more. So your answer then will be x minus 5 squared. Now you have to know that y minus 0 means y is the same thing as y. So this becomes plus y squared. So that's how you write this. So don't say y minus 0 squared. We expect you to know that mathematically we prefer to write it as y squared. And then over here, let's kind of figure out what this is, just like we did this one. So you're going to say 2 square root of 3 times 2 square root of 3. And so 2 times 2 is 4. And the square root of 3 times square root of 3 is the square root of 9, right? And the square root of 9 is 3. So it becomes 4 times 3, which is 12. And so there's your answer. Okay, so that's the first part. Then the second part is this. So the second part, you are given the equation of a circle, and it's in standard form, and you want to find the center and the radius. So here you are finding this, you are given the center and radius, you write the equation in standard form, In this one, you're just going backwards. Okay, so let's look at number 4. So number 4, you have, and remember our standard form looks like this. Let me go ahead and rewrite it. It looks like x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal r squared. Okay, so in this case, and remember the center is hk and the radius is just r. Okay, so number 4, we have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 9 squared equal 49. All right, so what I would do is I would think of this like this now. All right, so let's rewrite to get the center correctly, because some of you are going to say the center is negative 2 positive 9, and that's not true. So you got to be careful. It's got to look like this. So what I would do, see this part here where I said you need to rewrite this to make it look like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go backwards now. So now we're going backwards. All right, so in other words, rewrite it so that way it does say x minus, it does say y minus, and it does say r squared. So we're going to say this, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 9 means y subtract a negative 9, okay, squared, equal, and then what I would do here is I would just leave it as 49 for right now, and I'll show you what to do. So in other words, this is your h now, and this negative 9 is your k. And to find the radius, now let's think about this. You see this right here? So r squared equals 49. So this and this are the same thing. So if r squared equals 49, then to get r by itself, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Now, we don't do plus and minus here. The reason we don't do plus and minus is because we're talking about distance, and distance is always positive. Because remember, we're talking about radius. And so r then will be 7. So my center is 2, negative 9. And the radius is 7. Kind of makes sense because if I square it, I get 49 back. All right, so number 5. Number 5, we have x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 28. So again, let's rewrite this to make it look like this up here, x minus y minus. So I would just say this, x plus 3 means the same thing as x subtract a negative 3 squared. This is already subtraction, so I'm just going to rewrite it, equal 28. And so this is your h. So negative 3 is your h. Positive 1 is your k. And the radius squared, remember, this right here is r squared. So the radius squared is 28. And to get the radius by itself, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And so r then will be the square root of 28. You do want to simplify the radicals, so notice it says simplify square roots if possible. So the perfect square that goes into 28 is 4. So that's the square root of 4 times the square root of 7. So you get 2 square root of 7. And so the answer, then you're going to say the center is negative 3, 1. And the radius is 2 square root of 7. Number 6, you have x squared plus y plus 4 squared equal 36. Now, I want to remind you about the one we did earlier that looked like this. See where we had y minus 0 squared is just y squared? That's the idea you're going to use with this one. So I want you to recognize, see this x squared and this right here. See, this is a binomial. This is not a binomial, but I can make it look like a binomial by just making it look like we did here, y minus 0. So I'm going to say x minus 0 squared plus y minus a negative 4 squared equal 36. And so this is your h, 0 is your h, and negative 4 is your k, and the radius squared is going to be 36. Take the square root of both sides, the radius is just 6. So your center is 0, negative 4, and the radius is 6. All right. So that's number 6. Number 7, we have this. All right, so I'm going to have to show you this part. Okay, so you're told in this problem, number 7, it says the graph of the circle is given, and you want to determine the domain and range in interval notation. Okay, let me find a ruler to help us with this. Okay, so you're told that the center is negative 3, 4, and I deliberately put that because some of you may not be able to see that that's a negative 3 right here. So this right here is negative 3, 4, okay? And you're told the radius is 6. So if you went along 6 units, you get this point. 6 units up, you get that point. 6 units to the left, you get that point. 6 units down, you get that point. So all around the center, the radius is 6, okay? So the domain, remember, is a set of x coordinates. So to talk about the x coordinates, let's go from left to right. So I want you to see this. So when I go from left to right, like this, when I go from left to right, let's look at the x coordinates. So the smallest x coordinate is right here, and that happens to be negative 9. So my domain is going to go from bracket negative 9, comma, so I'm going from negative 9, and see all of these x coordinates are numbers that are between negative 9 and 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 right here, and that is 3. So that's 3 right here. So between negative 9 and 3. So that's your domain, the set of x coordinates. So every point on the circle, the x coordinate will be between negative 9 and 3. The smallest is negative 9, the largest is 3. For the range, remember the range is a set of y coordinates, so that's going from along the y-axis from bottom up. So if I look at the where this ruler starts touching the graph, which is here, that y coordinate right here is negative 2. So I'm going from negative 2, comma, and notice it's all brackets because there are no open circles on this circle, all the way to positive 10. And so that's your domain and range. All right, that's all you do. Now, this is going to be important in another part of our lessons later on about domain and range. Okay, so that's going to be the key to topic 10, parts A and B.